How's it going, everybody? KCG Trades here, back with another weekly watch list and stock market outlook video. So let's get right into the video, starting with the Nasdaq Composite. Before we move forward, I want to thank you guys so much for getting me to 1,000 subscribers. I truly appreciate it. Now it's time for some new goals, and I want to hit 1,500 subscribers. So if you have not hit that subscribe button, please hit that subscribe button now. Get me to 1.5K. Thank you very much. And so if we take a look at my screen here, I do have the Nasdaq pulled up, and the past 5 days that we had in the week was pretty good. The first 3 days especially, we had really strong moves in the market, and especially in individual names. The overall market had a huge day on Monday, reclaiming the 50-day moving average. Tuesday we had a nice little gap up, and Wednesday, Thursday, Friday we kind of had some stress test in individual names. The overall indexes kind of just went sideways and didn't do much, but individual names, like I mentioned, had a bit of a test for us. Because we had such a high move in just a very short period of time, a lot of names pulled back, consolidated, rested a bit, which is completely normal. It's just how we handle it and how the stocks handle these pullbacks. We want to see it happen in a controlled movement, in a very low volume way, and nothing too erratic. So that's the stocks you really want to be focusing on, those leaders that aren't giving much back when they pull back, or when they do pull back, it is on lower volume and in a tight range. So that's really what we're focusing on. In the Nasdaq Composite, we did find some resistance at the previous resistance here at the 15,219 level. So this week, let's see if we could come back up and get above that. I wouldn't be surprised to see 1 or 2 more days of sideways action, or possibly a little bit of a pullback, just so the EMAs can catch up to price. But we're back in a confirmed uptrend. We had that follow through day, and we had a nice follow through for the past week. Markets look really good, leaders look really good. I truly believe we're going to have a nice end of year rally, and I'm very excited to share the setups and names that I'm watching consistently, and I really believe these next 2 months are going to be great. Not to mention, in the Nasdaq, we do have a few unfilled gaps here, and that does show a sign of strength, especially if they don't get filled for a very long time. And I do see that in the market right now. After having a very seasonal September, we did find some strength in October, and continuing on to October. So I want to see if we could hit all-time highs. The Nasdaq is lagging just by a bit, as if we take a look at the S&P, we actually did hit all-time highs on Friday. Same with the Dow Jones, but it's pretty much the same situation. We had a rough September, huge climb up in October, and we're looking to continue that towards the end of the year. So that's really what I'm focusing on. Indexes look good, maybe due for a little bit of a pullback, a little bit of a consolidation, just to rest a bit, as we don't want to move up too high too quickly. But that's really what I'm truly looking at. All looks good, and I'm very bullish. If we take a look at the IBD 50, after bouncing off the 200-day moving average, we are starting to climb up. We did get back above all the moving averages, and they are starting to go in pattern now. So it's the 10, 21, 50, 200. So it is starting to get in rhythm. We do need to just stay above these levels and then just continue higher. I truly believe we will going into the end of the year, like I mentioned. If we take a look at the IWO, it's still in this chop fest, still in this consolidation zone, but we are starting to look a little better here. I want to see these levels get broken, that 305.50. I want to see that this price get above 305.50, close above it, and continue higher. Like we've been mentioning every week, it's just stuck in this consolidation until it makes a move up or down. It's just going to stay the same. Same thing with IWM. Just stuck in the consolidation, really nothing to really see here. There are a little bit of nice patterns that it's getting above, but really until it gets above 234 or below 204, I'm not really that impressed or worried. And if we quickly take a look at the VIX, we are back at these low 14 levels, which is kind of like in a neutral zone. So we're not really in high volatility, we're not in super low volatility, but right now we're just neutral. So buyers, sellers, pretty much even. Nothing really much to see here. And if we take a look at the ARK ETF, I do see here a bit of a downtrend line pattern that is looking to get above. For right now, that is kind of resistance zone, as we have 3 instances where we got rejected by it. We did undercut these lows and climb back above it. So it's kind of a work in progress right now. ARK is not the best looking chart, but hopefully we could get some more momentum going into the end of the year, get above this downtrend line and start a new uptrend. And if we take a look at the fear and greed index, we quickly switched to greed. As we know, last week was in neutral, 2 weeks ago was in like extreme fear mode. So it's crazy how fast the market can really move. We're back in greed zone. So these are the times we kind of have to be a little bit careful because the market got extended kind of quickly. So you have to be prepared for those pullbacks, for those little shakeouts, because they will happen. So make sure that you're in control of your emotions and you don't want to put stops too tight to price action, because you might get stopped out very quickly. Take a look at put and call options. We're in extreme greed. Market momentum, we're in greed. Stock price breadth, we're in neutral, so that's not that bad. Market volatility, like I said, it's in neutral zone. Stock price strength is in extreme fear. So we are still in a mix of extreme fear and some extreme greed. So these are some things to just pay attention to. They're not indicators of whether to buy or sell. They're just things to pay attention to. But for myself right now, like I've been mentioning, I am very bullish, but that doesn't mean we can't turn around and just flush again, right? It doesn't mean we're out the woods. It doesn't mean that we can't go back into a correction. Anything can happen at any time. You always have to be prepared. But for me, myself, I am always an optimist, and I really do believe we're going to have a great end of the year. So that's really what I'm looking forward to. And I do have tons of names on my watch list this week. I have about 20 names, so I'll try to go through them quickly. There are tons of setups. So let's start off right away with AFRM. So as we all know, AFRM is one of the strongest names out there, and they recently broke out into all-time highs, and since then they have been holding that $146 pivot, and it's been staying above the 10 EMA, and now we have this kind of flag action going on here. I wouldn't be surprised to see it go sideways just a little bit more, just to let the EMAs come up a little bit more, just to consolidate after its huge run up. But I also wouldn't be surprised to see it break out of this flag here and continue a move higher. So that's two scenarios I'm really looking out for. I really want to see this 10 EMA hold as support, and whatever we do, if we continue to go sideways, pull back a little bit, or continue going higher, I'm going to be prepared for it, because this is one stock that I really want to get into. As I've been mentioning, this stock has been hard to get a real good entry if you missed a few of the good ones, so I'm paying attention to it, seeing what I could do if I could possibly get in. Next one is APP. If we take a look here, this one has earnings November 10th, so about 2 weeks away. Has been acting very nicely here after breaking out of this little U pattern, after a nice consolidation, gapped up and just continued higher, drifting higher. Now it's starting to consolidate a little bit, finding resistance around that 96 level. I wouldn't be surprised to see this one just go sideways a little longer after its huge run up from 70 all the way to 98. So just some consolidation, some sideways digestion is very healthy for this stock, and just to let the EMAs, the 10 and 21, catch up to price, it would make it very healthy for this stock to move higher. So that's truly what I'm looking for with APP. And the next stock I'm watching is APPS. So APPS, or Digital Turbine, has been acting very well for the past 2 months. From August up until now, it has been on a nice uptrend, even when the market was in a correction. So that really stood out to me, especially in September, as a name to keep on your watch list. Friday, we did have a bit of heavier volume on this shakeout. We got below the 10 EMA, but recovered, and we closed right at the 10 EMA. So I really want to see this level stick for the next few days. We do have earnings coming up November 2nd, so that's something to pay attention to. But I really want to see this pivot of 80.57 hold. Hopefully the 21 EMA can come up to that level. Maybe we get a retest of the 21 EMA, or even if we could not even touch it and just hold this 10 EMA, continue to maybe go sideways a few more days just to regain its energy, and then climb up higher above this 90 level would be very healthy for this stock. It has broken a few resistance levels. First one here at 65, another one at 75, another one at 80. The next one would be around these around the 95 level. See if we could break up into 100 after earnings. Maybe we could get a nice little earnings gap and go, but that's definitely something to pay attention to with this name. I'm really intrigued with this stock, and really like how it's been acting. So hopefully in the next few sessions it could continue to act well, hold, find some support at moving averages, and continue higher. So the next stock I'm watching is ASAN. The stock has been acting very well since the beginning of October. After wedging down below the 21 EMA, it reclaimed it and been doing a stair-step method increase. So it's kind of been going up, sideways, up, sideways, up, sideways. That's what we're seeing here. After this little nice move into all-time highs, we had a bit of a consolidation day on Friday. We kind of shook out below the lows of Thursday, but we reclaimed it nicely. So for now, I kind of want to see it just go sideways for 1 or 2 more days, have that stair-step method of sideways action before moving up higher. Let it go sideways, let the EMAs catch up to price, and then move up higher into all-time highs once again. ASAN is really one stock I'm paying attention to very closely because of how strong it's been acting. Earnings are not until December 8th, so we are okay for now, and that's pretty much all I'm watching for this one. Next stock I'm watching is BILL. And this one's getting very tight as well after breaking out of this nice little bull flag here after its earnings, post-earnings gap up. Has been acting very nicely, consolidated nicely to this flag, broke out of this flag, and since then just been consolidating sideways on very low volume. And it's getting very tight. The 10 EMA caught up to price. Friday we had a nice little inside day on minuscule volume. So I'm really looking for a move above Friday's inside day, above 306.40 for an entry long. I do believe it's ready after consolidating for over a week straight to rip into all-time highs. So that's pretty much what I'm looking for in BILL. The next stock I'm watching is CELH, Celsius Holdings. As we know, this is still stuck in a consolidation, but it's been acting very well after selling off last week below the 21 EMA. It retested this lower end of this channel, and on Monday we had a huge bounce back. And then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we kind of just went sideways, got rejected on the upper hand just a little bit, but we are still above the 10 and 21 EMA. So for now, I just want to see this continue to build this channel. And whenever it's ready to rip above that $100 level, that's when I'm ready to hit that trigger, because once it hits that $100 level, I truly believe it'll rip to 110, 115, 120 in no time. And I also forgot to mention BILL has earnings November 4th, so that's something to pay attention to, which is about 2 weeks away. And CELH has earnings November 11th. So a lot of names have earnings coming up, so this is definitely something to remember before in trading or investing in a stock. Always know their earnings date, because that could really surprise you and shock you. As we all know what happened to Snapchat last week, you don't want that happening to you. So that's something to pay attention to. And the next stock I'm watching is Coin, which is Coinbase. I'm sure many of you are familiar with Coinbase. It's been acting very well since the beginning of October, moving from 220 all the way to 317 in a very quick matter of time. So we take a look here. It did break out of this 293 pivot zone. It broke out of this 282 pivot zone as well on very, very strong volume. So it does show signs of accumulation. These volume patterns are huge. And the past 2 days, Thursday and Friday, we did consolidate and pull back on lower volume. So that is good to see. It is starting to build out this little flag pattern here. So I wouldn't be surprised to see maybe 1 or 2 more days of sideways action or just a smaller pullback, just to get the EMAs to come back, catch up to price, retest these pivot levels, which we did on Friday, before continuing higher. We do have earnings November 9th, so that is something to pay attention to within the next 2 weeks. But overall, Coin is one of my top names I'm looking forward to. So this is what I'm paying attention to. Don't want to rush into any positions. You want to wait until it touches those EMAs. You want to wait until the consolidation occurs, because you don't want to chase, because of how fast these names move. You could be down a lot in a very quick matter of time. So it's always about managing risk, and that's what I'm watching for with Coinbase. The next stock I'm watching is CPE. SoCal and Petroleum has a very nice handle looking here. Take a look at the weekly chart. It kind of has this cup with handle look. It does have this cup with handle look. The cup is kind of deep, as it was over a 50% retracement. But since then, since August 20th, has been acting very nice, almost basically tripled in value. Now it's just pulling back after hitting that $60 resistance, pulling back on lower volume, has a nice wedge/flag look to it, while finding support at the 21 EMA. So it kind of has this holy grail setup look here. If you don't know what a holy grail setup here is, I'm going to put the link up here. But CPE is looking very nice here. It undercut the 21 EMA, reclaimed it, and we're looking for a break above this wedge pattern, above Friday's high, above 51.86, so around 52, to reclaim that 10 EMA as well, and then move higher and eventually retest that $60 level. That's really what I'm looking for with CPE. Very, very constructive pattern. We've got to see how it acts, though. You don't want to jump the gun, because as much as this pattern looks good, it could just as easily break down and continue moving down. Kind of has this double top look as well, so you never know. There's 2 sides to every coin, but we have to wait for the price action to confirm it, and then we get in. So that's pretty much what I'm watching for with CPE. Next stock I'm watching is ENPH. So ENPH is another name that's starting to look better here. Had a nice strong move from October 6th all the way to October 19th, going from 140s all the way to 190s, and the last 3 days been pulling back here, kind of had this flag look. Does have earnings October 26th, which is a Tuesday, so we're not going to touch the stock until after earnings to see how it reacts. So for now, we just wait and see, but I do like the bull flag pattern here. See if we can get a nice reaction to earnings, possibly gap up above this 182 level and see how we act from there. But for now, because it has earnings, just wait for earnings to release itself before jumping the gun. Next stock is INMD in mode, which is very similar to a lot of names I'm watching. The tightening flagging action, it did find a bounce off the 10 EMA. The 10 EMA caught up to price, which is what we want to see. But this is also another name that has earnings on October 26th. So we don't want to jump the gun. We want to wait till earnings are out. But it does have a nice little bull flag pattern here. Tried to break out on October 20th, but failed. It got rejected. And now just tightening up to see. So let's see if it could break above this 86.30 level, get above this downtrend line, and eventually hit all-time highs in the near future. But once again, for now, we stay away because of earnings. The next stock I'm watching is LC. This is another one with earnings October 27th, which is Wednesday. So a lot of names have earnings coming up, but it doesn't mean you can't prepare for these stocks because you never know what type of reaction they're going to have. If it has great positive reactions, then it might be opportunity to get in. If it has poor reactions, then it's a good thing you didn't get in because you don't want to be down with a huge loss right away. So for LC, it's just been acting very well after breaking out of this bull flag here, just continuously going higher, riding the 10 EMA. And now we have this little flag here with a bounce off the 10 EMA, which we got on Friday, which was great to see. So for now, I'm looking for a break above this little downtrend line, this flag here above 34.87, and see if we could reclaim all-time highs in the next few days. Once again, we want to stay away because of the fact that it has earnings on Wednesday, so wait till after. Now, the next stock I'm watching is NVDA. This is another one that has earnings November 17th, so there is some time from now until November 17th, so you can make a few trades if needed. It did find resistance at the previous all-time high level, so there's a pivot now around $230. But for now, I want to see this just go sideways or maybe even pull back to the EMAs before looking for an entry. It kind of just went straight up from 210 all the way to 230. EMAs caught a little bit of a distance from it. So I want to see these EMAs catch up to price and get a little tighter before moving into all-time highs, and that's where I'll be interested in possibly going long. Very simple, very easy to manage. So for now, we just wait, step back, don't enter. So the next stock I'm watching is Open Door Technologies. So as I've been mentioning with Open, I do believe we are about to hit its stage 2 accumulation phase, and ever since breaking out of the $22 pivot level, we have been doing a great job. If we take a look at the volume patterns, the green days, the up days have been with significant volume, and the red days, the pullback days, have been on very minuscule volume, so that's great to see. The past 4 days, we have been pulling back on very, very low volume, and we did find support at the 10 EMA. This one does have earnings November 10th, so about 2.5 weeks away, so there is time for it to make a significant move before earnings are released. So essentially what I'm looking for is a break above this little bull flag here, get above Friday's high of 23.69, and look to break out of this downtrend line and continue higher and move higher for the next few weeks and few months as we hit this stage 2 accumulation phase. I truly do believe it because of the huge volume that's been coming in for the past few months, and I think it is ready to go. Once we release earnings, it would be another catalyst for it to continue higher. Hopefully it does release good earnings, but for now the pattern is very constructive, finding support at the 10 EMA. Once we get above this downtrend line here, I wouldn't be surprised to see this get above 25 in no time. So that's what I'm watching for with Open. The next stock I'm watching is SE. This one has earnings November 16th, so there is a bit more time. This one has been acting strong ever since breaking out of this nice little flag here off the 50-day moving average. It just continuously trended higher, broke out into all-time highs, and the last 3 days have been consolidating and pulling back. Friday we did have a bit of higher volume, but that's okay. We did still find support at the 10 EMA, and now I just want to see this handle out here, just go sideways, kind of flag out, while still holding the 10 EMA before continuing higher. Pretty much the same thing that I've been talking about with every single stock. That's a little bit extended. You want to wait for the price action to meet up with the EMAs, get tight, start to flag out or wedge a bit before moving higher. Same thing with SE, and that's what I'm looking for with this stock. So the next stock I'm watching is SKIN, which is the beauty and health company, so skin. It has been consolidating nicely since August, so the past 2 months just been consolidating sideways. Stuck between a range of 28.50 and 23. We did bounce off the 23-24 level, which also corresponded with the 50-day moving average. The 50-day moving average does look to be a nice support level, and we did find some resistance at the 27-28 level. So there is a bit of a horizontal resistance around the 27.50 level. So I'll be looking to see if it could break above that on strong volume, but also close above that, because we haven't been able to close above that level for quite some time. So if we could break above that and close above it and then move above the 28.60 level into all-time highs, that's really what I'm going to be looking for. So there's kind of two steps to this: get above this level, close above it, and then find another leg to get above the 28.63 into all-time highs. So that's really what I'm watching for with skin, paying close attention to it, because I think this one could really move really quickly. The next stock I'm watching is SOFI, SOFI Technologies. After hitting a new low of 1356 in August, we have been steady climbing higher with higher highs and higher lows. And the past 2 weeks, starting October 8th, we kind of just hit a new acceleration, moving from 16 all the way to 21 in a matter of 2 weeks. And now we're just starting to flatline here, having some resistance around the 21 level. But that's okay, because we want the EMAs to catch up to price. We need it to consolidate, take its breath before going higher once again. Like the stair-step method, we want to go up, sideways, and nothing can go straight up. We need to go straight up, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. It's the basics of the stock market. So now I just want to see some consolidation here, go sideways, let the EMAs catch up to price, and then eventually break out of this 21 level. Very easy, very simple. That's what I'm paying attention to. The next stock I'm watching is Tesla. So Tesla has been an absolute beast. It announced earnings on Thursday, so that's out the way. It actually opened up red and then had a huge red to green move, breaking out, finding resistance at the 900 level. But on Friday, it continued higher. Past 2 days have been on huge volume, continued higher and hit all-time highs and closed very, very close to the high of the day. So we closed in all-time highs. If we take a look at the weekly chart, does look quite amazing, and I do truly believe this one's going to keep running. There's no more overhead resistance, so this one has tons and tons of room to move higher. Obviously we're going to have stair-step method, that's what Tesla does, but I do truly believe this one's ready to rip and close the year off, hopefully in the thousands. We never know what's going to happen, but that's just what I'm hoping for. So I'm really watching Tesla to see how it acts in the next few days. EMAs are a bit extended from the price, so I wouldn't be surprised to see it maybe rip up a little higher, and then possibly pull back on some low volume, let the EMAs catch up to price, and then rip higher once again. That's just my thought process of it, but anything could happen. For all I know, this could just completely fail and come back to 800s, but for now we just have to wait and see how it plays out. Tesla's very strong, closing at all-time highs. The next stock I'm watching is U, which is Unity Software. This one has earnings November 9th, so about 2 weeks away. It has been acting better, but still a little choppy here, going up on the stair-step method, but then kind of shook out the previous lows, but has been acting better ever since. For now, I'm looking for this little triangle pattern here to play out. Friday, we had a nice little inside day. We almost had another inside day on Thursday, but it just went over just by a little bit. So we had an inside day on Friday, and I wouldn't be surprised to see 1 or 2 more just sideways days, maybe possible inside days, before this can continue higher. Obviously, like I said, anything can happen, but there's still a lot of overhead resistance. But if we could break out of this little triangle pattern here, break above 150, then we could start to continue higher and start to possibly retest these levels. So that's what I'm watching for with U. The next stock is UPST, which has been a big winner for many for this year. Has been pulling back for the past week to the 21 EMA, found some support there. But I do believe this one is due for a possible shakeout. What I do like about this stock is just continuing higher, and all the red days have been on very minuscule volume. So to take a look, the 4 days it's been pulling back, red days, it's been on lower than average volume compared to those green days that we've been having. So this is something to pay attention to. We want to see how it reacts off the 21 EMA coming Monday. If we could maybe get a shakeout below it and recover, I'll look to go long. Something that'll just give us a sign of a reversal is where I'll be looking to enter. UPST is one of the strongest stocks in the market, so this is definitely a leader that you possibly want to pay attention to see the overall market as well. As if this one starts to begin to fail or base out, we might see others begin to do so as well. So this is another one that is good to see the gauge of the market. But that's really what I'm looking for with UPST. Also forgot to mention UPST has earnings coming up November 9th, so about 2 weeks away. So it does have a lot of time to figure out what it wants to do. But for now, as long as we're in this little bull flag here on lower volume, everything is constructive. But I am looking to enter a new position in this if we could get a nice little shakeout and possible reversal, or if we could continue higher and continue to show strength, get above that 10 EMA, above the 355 level. I'll be looking to go long as well. So different scenarios that I'm looking for, but I'm open to any situation, and I'm always ready to adjust based on my plan. So the next stock I'm watching, and the last one for the week, is UPWK. This one has a nice little ascending triangle on previous resistance around this 59 level. So it is setting up for a higher move, but this one does have earnings on October 27th, which is a Wednesday. So for now, I'm hoping it just goes sideways before earnings, and then once earnings comes, it gets a nice little earnings gap and go into all-time highs, and I'll be looking to enter it from there. But for now, has a nice pattern, but we want to wait because we don't want to enter it before earnings. So that pretty much sums up my weekly watch list and stock market outlook video for the week. I know I went through this kind of fast, but I didn't want to make this video too long. So I hope this video was still informative, but not boring. But other than that, I hope you guys have a wonderful week. If you have not liked this video yet, please hit that like button down below. Subscribe if you haven't. Share this with your friends and family, and have a wonderful week. Good luck. Stay safe. Take care.